Today we are going to learn another method to find the probability, which is two-way table. When you want to use any two-way table, you can rephrase all the information given in the question into a table form, and it consists of maybe two different events. Right, you're having event A prime, event B, and also event B prime. When you construct a table like this, you will actually get some very useful information about the intersection of all the events from the cell of the table. And if you total up all the values from a column or a row, and you can actually get the probability for the particular event to happen. So as an example, this cell tells you that the probability of event B happen. Alright, so we can discuss example 7 now, how to use a two-way table to find the probability. Okay, so this table shows the result of the driving test according to the gender and also according to the result, whether they pass or fail. Right, and after that, they want you to answer the question. To answer this particular question, at first, you need to try to get all the total for every single event. As an example, we need to get the total for male, which is 42. We need to get the total for female, which is 58. The total for pass, which is 75. And also for the total of fail, which is 25. And of course, you need to have the grand total, which is 100. Please take note that the 100 here, usually I will call it as grand total. Right, so to answer the question, let us start. They want you to find the probability that a person passed the driving test. Okay, so for the first part, regardless to the gender, they only want to know what is the probability for the person who passed the driving test. To get the probability, you need to look for the total number of pass, which is 75, over the grand total, which is 100. And try to simplify your answer, you will get 0.75. So you'll see that it is actually quite a very useful method. Okay, then we go to part number 2. They want you to find the probability that a person is a female who failed the driving test. So you need to consider two events here. The person being chosen should be a female, and at the same time she failed the driving test. Alright, so to get the total for female who failed the driving test, you need to look for the intersection cell between the female and failed, which is 15. Therefore, I'm having 15 over the grand total, which is 100, and it should be equals to 0.15. Alright, then we proceed to part number 3. So for part number 3, a male is chosen. What is the probability that he passed the driving test? Okay, so this question is a bit special because if you look at the structure of the question, they give you an event that is already known first. So the event that is already known, we usually write it as a short sentence in front of the question. And after that, they want you to find out the probability that he passed the driving test. Knowing that the person being chosen is a male, which means this is something that already happened before, and we want to find the probability that he passed the driving test. So for this kind of question, generally when we write out the symbol, it is a bit different from what we learned before. When we know that the meal already being chosen, you need to write it as a symbol like this. You have a stroke here, and then meal. The event that happened first, you write on the right hand side, and the event happened later that you concern and you want to find out the probability, you write on the left. So in our example here, we want to focus on the probability of a male who already known is a male and he passed the test. Therefore, we put the pass in front. Alright, so this is a special symbol for the probability for this special type of question where an event already known prior to the probability that you want to find. So this kind of symbol, we actually name it as conditional probability. Right, so when you are having any conditional probability, please make sure that you know how to write out the probability, the symbol correctly. Okay, right, so we will actually learn the detail of conditional probability again in the later video. Right, so now let us come back and focus on this part. So to get this conditional probability from a two-way table, this is how we get the answer. First, please look for the cell who is actually pass and also a male. That means the intersection between pass and male. So the intersection between pass and male is 32. So you usually put it as a 32 divided. Okay, so for conditional probability, we are not going to divide it with the grand total. We are not going to do it with 100. What we need to get the total is we need to divide it by using the total of male only, which is the event that already happened before. Okay, so we want to get the probability for male. So what is the probability for the total for male is 42. Therefore, it should be 32 divided by 42. So this is a small difference between conditional probability and the normal type of probability. Alright, so when you try to divide it and simplify this answer, you should get 16 over 21. Alright, so there's a special question here where you need to learn how to identify the conditional probability. So one of the method is usually in conditional probability question, they will state that they will state out the event that already happened first in the short sentence before the question. So as an example, a meal is chosen is a short sentence before the question, which tells you that this is the event that already happened before. Therefore, when you write in the symbol form, the meal, you should put it on the right hand side of the stroke. And after that, they actually want to find out the probability from the meal that being chosen, how many of them or what is the probability of them pass the driving test. Therefore, the event pass, you should write on the left hand side of the stroke. So we call this as the conditional probability. So this is one pattern. Another keyword for conditional probability that we will see very, very often is actually given that. So please take note of this keyword given that. Every time when you see the word given that, it also gives you a hint that the question that you are going to answer is actually the conditional probability. We can discuss this further in the next example. Alright, so let's have a look for example 8. For example 8, they already give you some information and also a table, a two-way table. And you need to copy and complete the table below to show the number of biscuits in each category. So you can have a look here. A box of biscuits contains of 30 biscuits. That means this is actually the grand total, the total number of biscuits that we have. And after that, some of the biscuits are chocolate covered, then some are wrapped and also unwrapped. Alright, so 12 biscuits are wrapped in gold foil. When they tell you that 12 biscuits are wrapped in gold foil, that means the total number of gold foil biscuit is 12. So please fill in the cell. The total of the wrapped biscuit is 12. And from these biscuits, 7 are chocolate covered. So that means you are having 7 here. There are 17 chocolate covered biscuits in total. So the total of the chocolate covered biscuits is actually 17. So you can try to fill in all the cells first that they already give you the information in the question, and after that you have to complete the table here. So to complete this table, you need to sort out cell by cell. Let us look at this one. So you should know that the total wrapped biscuit is 12. 7 of them are chocolate covered, and how many of them is not chocolate covered? Therefore, it should be a 5 to get the total 12. At the same time, when you are having the total 17 of chocolate covered biscuits, 7 of them wrapped in gold foil, and how many of them is unwrapped? You'll get a 10, which means 7 plus 10, you get 17. Next, the total biscuits, the grand total biscuit is 30. So you are having 12 for a wrapped biscuit, therefore the rest are unwrapped, which is 18. So you can complete the rest of the table easily. Try to double check and see the total of every single row or column correct or not before you start to answer the question. So first you need to get the table done before you can answer all the question later. Right, so let's have a look. A biscuit is selected at random from the box. Find the probability that the biscuit is wrapped in gold foil. So for this particular question, they actually want you to find out the wrapped biscuit. Regardless to whether they are chocolate covered or non-chocolate covered, they only want to know how many of them are wrapped. Therefore, 12 is the total biscuits that is wrapped, which is a 12, divided by the grand total. So the grand total is 30. You'll get 0.4 for this particular question. So it's easy and straightforward. Then proceed to next question. Alright, so the biscuit just now is returned to the box. Now they are looking for unwrapped biscuit is then selected at random from the box. Alright, so this is a sentence that already tells you unwrapped biscuit is selected already. That means this is an event that already happened earlier. And now they want you to find the probability that that unwrapped biscuit is chocolate covered. So again, this is actually a conditional probability question. So when you write out the symbol, you should have a stroke here. What is the event that happened first? Unwrap. So you can write unwrap. What is the probability that they want you to find out is chocolate covered. So you can write chocolate covered. Okay, so to get this conditional probability, again, first we need to find out the number of chocolate covered intersect with unwrapped. So where chocolate covered intersect with unwrapped is a 10. Divided, because it is a conditional probability, we are not going to divide it by using the grand total. We are looking for the total for unwrapped biscuits. So how many of the biscuits are unwrapped? So from the table, you get the 18. Which is equals to 5 over 9. Please take note between the difference for the normal type of probability and also this conditional probability. Alright, so what is the hint to let us know that this is a conditional probability? You can see that a sentence is written prior to the question that we have. And from here, we actually know that an event is already happened prior to what we are going to focus in our question. Right? That's why from here I know that it is a conditional probability. Next one. The biscuit is returned to the box again to get back the grand total 30. A biscuit is then selected at random from the box. Find the probability that the biscuit is unwrapped given that it is chocolate covered. Okay, so for this question, there's also another important keyword here, which is the given that. So as what I told you just now, given that it is a keyword that tells you we are going to find out the conditional probability, right? So please take note on this. So it is actually a conditional probability question again. Given that it is chocolate covered, that means the chocolate cover is the event that already happened first. Therefore, I can write as chocolate covered here on the right hand side of the symbol. And after that, what is the event that we focus to find out is unwrapped. Therefore, we are having unwrapped on the left hand side. Okay, so again, to find the conditional probability, first you look for unwrapped intersect with chocolate covered. Unwrapped and chocolate covered, again, you'll see that it is 10 divided by the total of chocolate covered biscuits. So the total of the chocolate covered biscuits is actually 17. Therefore, you're having 17 here. And this is actually the answer for our part 4. Last one. The biscuit is returned to the box. Nasir then takes 4 biscuits without replacement from the box. Find the probability that he takes exactly 2 wrapped biscuits. Okay, so for these particular questions, there are more than one way that we can do it. Right, so I will generally separate it into 2 different parts, 2 methods. Alright, so the first method is we are going to uh, get the probability of the biscuit one by one. So that means from the 4 biscuit, he get 2 wrapped biscuit and 2 unwrapped biscuit. Wrap, wrap, unwrap, unwrap. Therefore, to find the probability, first one, if let's say the first biscuit that we get is wrapped biscuit, what is the probability for the wrapped biscuit? So you'll see that total I'm having 12 wrapped biscuits over total of the box is 30. Therefore, for the first one is 12 over 30. Okay, after you take out 1 biscuit from the box already, now the grand total become 29. And this one become 11. Okay, then for the second biscuit, if I get also a wrapped biscuit, that means the probability will become 11 over 29. And now the total number of wrapped biscuit become 10 and the grand total become 28. Next one, for the third biscuit, I want to get the unwrapped biscuit. So for now, unwrapped biscuit, the total is 18 divided by the grand total, which is 28. And after you take out 1 unwrapped, it will become 17 and also 27. The last one, also unwrapped biscuit, and now you're having 17 over 27. And please take note that these 4 probability here refer to the permutation of refer to the arrangement of W, W, U, U. Wrap, wrap, unwrap, unwrap. How about if let's say the 4 biscuits that I get is actually W, U, W, U. And I still have some other arrangement, other different arrangement. It is quite tedious if I want to list out every single arrangement here. Therefore, to save the steps, I would like to use the concept that we learned before about the permutation. Alright, so we need to consider the arrangement for these four objects. So we are having four items here, W, W, U, U. Therefore, I need to multiply it with 4 factorial divided by, you are having two identical red biscuits and two identical unwrapped biscuits. Therefore, you need to divide it by 2 factorial and 2 factorial. And from here, only you will get the correct answer, which is 0.368. So if you want to list out, if you want to get the probability biscuits by biscuits, eventually you still need to consider the arrangement of the biscuits that you might have. So this is method number 1 that involves permutation concept that we learned in chapter 2 before. How about the other method? Okay, so for method number 2, generally it is also involve the concept that we learned before in chapter 2. So maybe we can use combination. Alright, so for part 5, another alternate solution is, since I want to get 2 wrapped biscuits and also 2 unwrapped biscuits, therefore, you can actually try to involve the concept of combination. Right? Okay, so let's start from here. Okay, we are having 12 wrapped biscuits in total, and I would like to have 2 to be in the selection. And multiply with, I have another 2 unwrapped biscuits. Therefore, from 18 unwrapped biscuits, you are choosing 2 of them to pull it from the box, to choosing them from the box, and divided by the grand total. So for the grand total, you are having 30 biscuits in total, and in general, you want to choose 4 without referring or regardless to the types of biscuits that we have. And from here, straight away, you can get the correct answer, which is 0.368. Right, so there are 2 solutions for you, and please try to understand the steps and see whether you can understand them or not.